Do you realize how important your thoughts and your mind is to creating your wealth and being successful? I'm here to show you and teach you how to control your thoughts, control your mind to get you in the direction to building wealth and being successful. Stay tuned. You're in the right place at the right time. Welcome to Money Magnet. I'm your host, T. Brandy. Today we're going to be discussing your thoughts and your mind and how it plays an important role in your wealth building. A lot of times people have such negative thoughts about money. A lot of times people have negative thoughts about success and their wealth and their surroundings. A lot of that plays an important role in how you build your success and how you build your wealth. A lot of people grow up thinking, hey, this is it for me. Hey, my mom was poor, my dad was poor, my family was poor, so my outcome is probably going to be the same. And with that thought process, you'll definitely end up poor, because wealth and success, happiness, everything positive starts in the mind as well as everything negative. So you're just like, okay, well, I think positive all the time. I'm always trying to think positive. That word trying has eliminated every positive outcome or source that you have, because when you say trying, that's not a definite feeling or a definite thought. You're trying to do something. No, when you are positive and you think positive about wealth and you think positive about money, it has to line up with your thoughts. And not just your thoughts, but your feelings. How you feel about things, how you feel about your wealth, how you feel about money. So a lot of times what we have to do is we have to align our thoughts and our minds with our future. And when we do that, we have to start thinking positive things. We have to plan out things in our mind. And once we plan those things out in our mind, we should start writing those things down. And once we write it down and we make it plain, then we go back to the things that we've written down. We visualize these things. We get our mind in perspective of what we want to do. And we have to be motivated by our thoughts. And so a lot of people's like, you know what, I'll never get that, or how can I possibly do that? With those kind of thoughts, you'll never be able to accomplish your goals that you want to accomplish. So once we get our mind right and we get our thoughts right and we write those things down, we make them plain, we begin to, study those things, we begin to saturate our lives with those thoughts and shift our mind and our thinking, then we'll be able to better plan and move forward in things that we want. So I tell people all the time, when it's like, every time I turn around, something's going on. If it's not one thing, it's another. That is the worst thing possible that you can say. Because once you've put that out there in the atmosphere, guess what's going to happen? One thing after the other is going to happen because you already put it out there. And I remember when I was a young girl, I used to say all the time, I had crooked teeth and I thought I was just so ugly. So I used to say all the time, I just thought I was like, I'm so ugly. I'm ugly. Nobody's ever going to like me because I'm ugly. And my teeth are crooked, so nobody's ever going to think of it. I was pretty. So I had those thoughts in my head for years. And for years, even as an early adolescent, I thought I was this ugly person. Only because I thought it was in my mind, and people treated me the way I thought. People treated me by what I was bringing to myself because it was in my mind. And I remember somebody was telling me that I was pretty. And I'm like, how could that person think that I'm pretty when I didn't even myself think that I was pretty? So people were treating me how I thought because that's what I was putting out in the atmosphere. So when I started changing the way I thought about myself and changing the way I felt about myself, people started to treat me different because I started putting that feeling, those thoughts, things that were in my mind out in the atmosphere. See, everything starts in the mind first. You can't do anything unless you think about it first. You're not going to just run to the bank and then you get to the bank and you don't know why you're at the bank. You had to think, hey, I need to go to the bank and I need to do X, Y, Z. So then you get in your car and you drive to the bank. Everything starts in your head first. And that's with your future, that's with your finances, that's with your family, your career, your family, everything is a thought process. And I remember as a little girl, I was like, when I grow up, and we've all done this, you set goals for yourself. When I grow up, I want to have 2 children. When I grow up, I want to have 3 children. When I grow up, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. When I grow up, I want to be this and that. So those things starts in your mind. So you want to expound on those things. You don't want to just say, hey, this is what I want to do. And when you graduate high school, you start to go in the direction to accomplish the things that you wanted to do. It starts in the mind first. And the same thing goes with money and wealth. I used to say all the time, we were poor. We used to live in a little shotgun house, what they called back in Mississippi. And I remember walking around the house and I was thinking, man, you know what? When I grow up, I want to live in this big, beautiful mansion. I want to drive some of the nicest cars. And I would walk around the house pretending that this shack was actually a mansion. That I had these big, huge rooms and I would clean. My mother was the type of person that, she was OCD and we had to clean all the time. So I would pretend that I was cleaning this mansion, thinking to myself, one day I'm gonna live in a mansion. Even though we were dirt poor, I was like, one day I'm gonna live in a mansion. One day I'm gonna drive the finest cars, the nicest cars. And these things were in my mind and they stayed in my mind. And I was like, I'm gonna grow up and then I'm gonna be pretty and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna have children. So I was planning my future in my head. And though there were a lot of obstacles that I thought was, eventually gonna prevent me from fulfilling those things that I had thought and put out there in the atmosphere. Yeah, sometimes you may have some stumbling blocks in your life. And that comes with the territory, but it's how you deal with those stumbling blocks. How you recoup and recover from those stumbling blocks plays an important role on you living out your dreams, you living out your goals, you going above and beyond your expectations for yourself. So I remember I started writing. I used to love to write. Writing was my outlet. That was my de-stressor. That was my motivator, was to just get pen and paper and just write. And I would write down things that I wanted, things I wanted to do, people I wanted to meet, the success I wanted to have in the business, and what I wanted to do with my life, because that was my outlet. So if I wrote it and I read it, it took me from my right then or my right now situation at that time. So right now, I was in reality back then, I was, this poor girl, I didn't have anything going for myself but a bunch of nonsense and drama. And so writing and reading took me away from that. And so I would pretend all these things. Now pretending is a good way to change your thought process and your mind process. Pretend that you're wealthy. Pretend that you're living your dreams and you're living out your goals right now. There's nothing wrong with pretending. Kids, as children, we pretend all the time. We pretend like we drive in the Ferrari. We pretend like we the police officer. We pretend like we're the doctor or the hairstylist. We do a lot of pretending as children. And we can do the same things as adults. We pretend until we get to where we want. And I'm not saying be this faker. I'm just saying in order to get your mind, to shift your mind, sometimes you have to pretend. And that's what I used to do. Even as a young adult, I remember living, in a small 2-bedroom house. And I will go around the house and I would be cleaning, pretending that this was my mansion. So if you know this and you have this information, why not put out the positive things out there in the universe, so that you can get those positive things back. The word tells you give and it shall be given unto you. Good measures pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall men pour into your bosom. We've been taught that in church all of our lives, right? And that is the same concept. It is the same principle when you give. What are you giving? What are you giving yourself? What are you giving out there to the universe? Like, what are you giving? So that determines what you're going to get back. It applies to every area of your life. So when you're sitting around and you're thinking about, oh gosh, you know, this is not going the way I want it to go. You know, I don't have money for this. There's no way I'm gonna be able to do this. I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. Then the wait turns into eternal because you just sat and you waited and you did nothing. The word also tells us, and everybody learned this in church. If you grew up in church, I grew up in church. Everybody learned, you know, faith the size of a mustard seed. You can tell that mountain to be thou removed and cast into the sea, and it must obey. Faith without works is dead. You know, we've all learned that in church growing up. You know, you've done nothing. You've done nothing. You just sat. So you have to do something. But in order to do something, you have to think about it. And you have to put it out there. And when your thoughts are generating and you're thinking those positive things, you're thinking those strong things, and you're like, yes, I can do this no matter what it takes. I'm going to do this. Now you're thinking the right things. Now you're putting that energy out there so you can get ready to do the things you want. And you don't have to always know which steps to take. All you have to do is take the first step. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. And if you take that first step, then you'll take the next step. Even if you're walking in the dark and you're walking up a staircase and you're holding your balance with your hands, right? And you take that first step. You don't see the next step. But by faith, you take the next step, and you take the next step until you get to the top of the stairway. And that's the same thing in life. Like, what do you want for yourself in life? Am I going to sit here and just kind of wonder and let whatever happens? No. You have to make up in your mind that you're going to be at the right place at the right time to get your blessing. And if you're the type of person that think, man, I'm always at the wrong place at the wrong time and something is always happening, you're going to always be at the wrong place at the wrong time because that's what you think. And that's what you put out there in the universe. So you have to change the way you think and be like, because for me, like, I'm always in the right place at the right time. I'm always meeting the right people right when I need to meet the right people. Always like clockwork. Like, I'm never late. And even if you think I'm late, I'm on time. Because the universe has orchestrated to where I'm right where I need to be when I need to be. Because that's the way I think. When I wake up out of bed, you know, I dictate my day how I want it to go by my thoughts. Okay, whatever happens today is going to be a blessing to me. You know, I'm going to have favor here. Somebody's going to bless me here. Like, grace and mercy is going to follow me. Whatever I need and want, I'm going to get it today. That's how I orchestrate my day every day. And it all starts, you know, with the way I think. Okay, what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to plan out my day. And even if something happens and it doesn't go exactly like I want it to go, it's going to go better than I want it to go because that's how I think. I put it out there. So guess what? The universe has to give it back to me. So everything lines up with how I want it. And you have to do the same thing. How do you want your day to go? How do you want your day to end? What do you want? So you make the first move, and I guarantee you the universe will do everything else you need it to do. It's your thoughts. It's your mind. Change it. Write down your thoughts. Write down your goals. Write down your plan. There's nothing wrong with writing your plan down. Even if your plan don't go exactly how you wrote it down, don't worry. The universe will make it happen for you. Like, it will happen with your thoughts and your feelings. So in order to build wealth initially, you got to change the way you think. You have to change and stop thinking that, hey, you deserve to, you know, live poor, or you deserve to be in poverty. Come on, no one deserves that. You know, it's totally up to you what you feel you deserve, what you feel you want, the things that you think. It all starts with you. And for a person who's gone through a lot health-wise, believe me when I say it all starts in the mind, your thoughts. I mean, I've overcome 13 strokes to the brain. I've survived cancer twice. And this all started because of the way I thought, my mind. You know, when I had cancer and nobody expected for me to survive, I knew that I would survive. I was like, this will not beat me. I'm going to beat this. And I did. And when I was diagnosed the second time with a different cancer, I said, hey, I beat it the first time. Guess what? I'm going to beat it this time. And when I started having strokes at a very young age, I started having strokes at 25 years old. And I was having these strokes that was paralyzing me on my left side. And it was affecting my speech. It was affecting my ability to use my left hand. It was affecting my ability to walk. In my mind, I knew that I would beat this, but the doctors were so concerned because I was so young and I was having these strokes and they couldn't figure out what was causing me to have the strokes. You know, their job was to figure out what was causing the strokes and to fix it because I was so young. And it took 13 strokes to the brain for the doctors to finally figure out, oh my God, you know, what was wrong and what was causing stroke. But in the meantime, while they were trying to figure it out, I had already determined my outcome by my thoughts. And even though, you know, I couldn't talk and I had to go through speech therapy and I had to go through occupational therapy and physical therapy, in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to beat this. They were like, oh, you're going to always talk with a stutter. You're going to always walk with a limp. And I would be saying, no, I'm not. That's not going to happen. I was not willing to receive that. I was willing to keep my mind positive. And I would dictate my own future, dictate my own outcome. Like, nope, I will not talk with a stutter. I will not walk with a limp. But guess what? I'm going to walk. I'm going to continue to run. I'm going to work out, continue to do the things I do. I'm going to continue to talk because I love to talk and meet people. So I'm definitely not going to talk with a stutter. I'm definitely not going to walk with a limp. And, you know, this and that. Like, I defied the odds because of the way I thought. I put out there what I wanted to happen, not what the doctor wanted to happen or what the doctor said would happen. But I fixed it in my mind, hey, I'm going to be perfect. I'm going to be better than before. And I put it out there, and guess what? That's what happened. So for you out there that are wondering, how do I get started? You know, how do I start? You have no clue how to start. Start with your thoughts. Start with your mind. Once you get your mind straight and you get your thoughts in line with the things that you want, then you started the process of your wealth building.
Welcome to Dorabella Creations, a wonderful collection of custom-made masterpiece artworks. Dorabella is a visual artist who specializes in individual and family portraits. She also paints murals for bedrooms, hallways, and creates plaques for teachers, businesses, and households. Contact Dorabella via email at pepperson13.dw@gmail.com and on Facebook at gingerpants7474.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Money Magnet JB. Click the link below to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll be looking for you guys on the next episode. Don't forget, feed your strength to fuel your power. Until next time, see you guys later.